What's up, everybody?
Welcome to the Tug of More.
So glad that you're here to spend a little time with us.
That's right.
Just a conversation between two friends.
These two.
Talking about where we are.
Yep.
But even more importantly, where we want to be.
That's right.
That's the tension, the tug, the turmoil.
Yeah.
See what
the
I
Tug
did
of
there?
More. Yeah. That was
Turmoil of the tug of more.
Yeah. We added a new T word to the tension, the turmoil, the Tug of More.
Around here, we call the tug of more Tom.
Yeah.
T-O-M. Those are the.
But then sometimes people are like, "Who's Tom?"
Who's Tom?
We'll have Tom written on a whiteboard or on a thing, and they'll be like, "Hey, we need something for Tom," and people are like, "Wait, who's Tom? When did we hire Tom?"
Who's Tom?
Yeah.
What's up? What's happening? Anything new in life going on?
No. No. I mean, I have a kid getting married and graduating from college, and but no, nothing other than that is really happening.
Those are big ones.
That's not important. Yeah, there's a lot happening actually, I guess, but it's going good. What?
You know, this last Sunday we had so many people come that used to come to the church, but moved out of town.
Yeah.
But were all like in for the weekend
Visited.
for spring break.
Yeah.
It was so good to see people.
It was super fun to get to hang out and then like see where people are, and then also it's nice to hear them say they miss us. You know, that like life is better at More Church.
That's true.
so
many
miss
people.
Our friends. Yeah.
We had people from all over different
Oklahoma,
states,
different parts of Texas,
Yeah.
Indiana,
all over the place,
it was everywhere.
And with social media, you're still a little connected. So
That's right.
they still know what's going on here.
They're
And
staying
so we got
plugged
to
in.
hug some necks and take some pictures and all the things.
That's super fun.
So if you are on the tug team but live out of state or far away, we want to see you.
That's right.
If you're ever in the DFW area,
Come visit us.
come say what's up. Listen, just walk right up to the front. We're sitting on the left side.
That's right. You
Just
don't
tell one of our ushers, say, hey, I'm on the tug team.
I came to say what's up.
I want to meet Pastor Truston, Pastor Whitney. You come and see us. If Aaron or Rachel punch you, we'll see you after service.
Why would they punch him?
If I'm like down crying during worship or something,
oh.
Aaron's like, leave him alone.
Not right
He's
now.
hearing a word from the Lord.
Yeah, not right now. But hey, speaking of, we had an incredible time of worship on Sunday. It was so good.
Yeah.
And it maybe you feel a little like nostalgic, old school in your heart, like, oh wow, I love this place.
So yeah, second service.
Like, what are you about to say?
I'm just telling everybody what happened if they weren't
okay.
there. What happened second service is kind of God moved us in a different direction.
Yeah.
And so the worship team did their normal kind of set, and then we led into some other moments in the service.
Yeah.
And so we didn't even do announcements, and my message was cut shorter.
And we didn't even take the offering.
Didn't even take the offering. The reason I start laughing is because, I do remember that growing up in church, and I feel like that they would do it just because the pastor didn't write a sermon.
Would be like,
and he'd be like, I feel like the Lord
wait on the
isn't
Lord.
done during worship.
I didn't write a message. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I get it.
So what's going through my head during that is, man, I hope people don't think that I'm just
That's really funny. I never thought that growing up. But I think
and it might have not been true. It's just, it might just be something I heard some guy in the lobby make as a joke, and then
you thought
that's what it was.
Because
Don't worry, that's just my $1,000 cell phone that I threw on the floor.
To grab your $1 sparkling dirt water.
That tastes like dirt.
I guess maybe though, because my pastor growing up, like he was a manuscripter and a great communicator, but he like wrote out his message every week. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh, I know, I could see it in my, also he was my family, so I knew him, but like he always had his notes ready to go. But I don't know, I never thought of it like that. But I've heard you say that. I'm like, you're probably right that's probably, especially Sunday night church. Because don't you feel like Spirit moved more though in Sunday night church than he did in Sunday morning church?
Spirit was moving Sunday night. I feel like there's a testimony in the house.
Probably Sunday night. Because pastors back in the day, they had to prepare a Sunday morning, Sunday night, and a Wednesday night. That's 3 messages a week.
Yeah, they'd be preaching 3 series at the same time.
And they visited all the people in the hospital, did all these like calls.
And they did it without the internet. They couldn't just Google.
They were definitely better.
What does the Bible say about me? If I don't know where the Bible reference is, I can find it in 10 seconds on my cell phone. Back then they had to have a concordance.
Our hospitality team they're doing an amazing job. Freddie Mac is leading the team, and
Mac Attack.
And Cindy, Freddie, like he has this like vision for it. And so every week he's got like some new like treat that they're trying or whatever. But he started this thing where he's writing like Bible trivia or like scriptures on the like little easel, and like when you come get a mint or like a cookie or whatever, it's like there. And I think you get like a chocolate or something. It's very cute, like that they will give you a chocolate if you get the right answer. But the other week they had just a scripture and you had to say the reference. And I was like,
oh yeah, I'm gonna get nervous for sure.
I walked up and they were like, Pastor, well, what is the reference of this? And I'm like, and I'm like, you can't be a loser right now.
Can I take my shoes off?
This is like an airplane. You just take your shoes, just do whatever you want.
It's holy ground. It's holy. I feel the spirit moving. I think the spirit's moving. I gotta take my shoes off on a holy ground. That's the other reason that it happened in like night service. Pastor's feet just hurt, and they want to take their shoes off. Just kidding. So they asked me, can you get the trivia? Do you know? And I'm like, thank God that literally we'd been talking about a verse similar to that like 2 days before, and so I knew where it was in the Bible, and so I said, it's in Hebrews. And then because I had just read Hebrews 10, I was like, and I know it's not Hebrews 10. That made me sound holier than I actually was. You really know the Bible. It made me sound like I knew for sure it was not in Hebrews. No, I just happened to have read Hebrews 10 the day before, thank God. And so then the guy behind the counter was like, gives me like this. And I was like, Hebrews 11? And he's like, yes, you got it. Great job. You should have known it was Hebrews because it was at the coffee location.
Oh, that is probably
because you know why? Hebrews.
Yeah, that's good. You're right.
So every church in the 90s named their coffee stand Hebrews.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
You had to really know the Bible back in the day. You couldn't just Google it.
They need to do questions based upon what we talk about on the Tug of War.
Yeah, okay. I will tell them that.
Come on, Freddie.
Let's go, Freddie. That's a good idea.
Freddie's doing a good job. I overheard Freddie talking with Tyler. I was walking through the kitchen this week, and he was telling him about when it's hot that they need to switch the
to cold brew.
No, to a lighter brew.
Oh, to a citrus. Yes, he told me about
a lighter brew, and I was like, I'm not a coffee guy, so I don't know what the junk he was talking about. Yeah. But I was glad they were talking about it.
Yeah, it's very good. No, I love it.
It's turned into a little party area. Our little
coffee vibes.
Coffee vibes. We need to really do it good though.
Well, if anyone
I'm
would
not
like
saying
to
Freddie's not doing it good. I'm saying a counter
the area. If anyone would like to make a donation for the renovation of the coffee space,
it would be $25,000.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's what it would take because we want to do a closet and some refrigerators and a sink and what's the marble countertop. We want to do all those upgrades.
I keep thinking about your phone. I can't not do it.
You had to get up. Why? Why do you care about my cell phone? We're keeping that in.
I know.
What do you care about it for? It's just down there.
It costs $1,000.
Yeah, but it's already on the floor.
But I don't know. I just kept thinking about it. What if someone tries to needs you and needs? I don't know.
I thought you were going to say, "What else? Well, my watch will ding."
Oh, you have your watch.
And I won't look at it.
I have a gold watch instead of.
I've been nailing my 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
Guess how many I have already today?
How many?
It is only 3:29, and I have 9,472 steps.
Ooh, but it's Monday. Monday's your running day, right? So you get more steps in?
Dude, it was bad today. We did chest today. Monday's International Chest Day. And then Kyle says, let's go run.
Is that like a real thing?
It's just like a joke.
Because
every guy bench presses. It's like the first thing that you're like, so it's Monday being the week. Like,
oh, okay.
Of course I'm going to do chest. It's Monday,
Because it makes you feel like a winner? Because you do it well?
No, it's just the like quintessential bro.
Yeah.
Gym bro.
Oh, okay.
Like, what do you bench, bro? Like that.
Okay.
It's just kind of a gym joke.
I got it.
And then Kyle wants us to run on Mondays, which I do not like to do. But we did. I did poorly.
What does it mean poorly? Does it mean you stop and start? Does it mean you go fast and slow? Does it mean you... What does poorly mean?
Well, Kyle is a runner.
Yeah.
So when I stand next to Kyle, I'm running poorly.
Yeah.
And so I usually will do like interval training.
Yeah.
So I'll run a minute, walk a minute.
Okay.
And like the goal is for me, I'm trying to still lose some body fat. And so I will try to be in zone 2 cardio, which means I can still kind of have a conversation.
Right.
And so I'm not like 170 heartbeats a minute. I'm like in the 150 range.
Yeah.
And so
anytime I run with really anyone, I am 5'2". Therefore, I am slower. Or I am in zone 4.
Yeah.
To literally die. And you've seen me. My face is like bright red. If I exert any energy, my face is bright red. And so, I feel like a loser. I did a class with Phil the other day, and he's like at level in zone 2, he's like at level 7 or something. And I'm like, this is impossible. 7 is like my fastest sprint I can do without wanting to fall off the treadmill. You know?
No, if I run too much, I'm hungry.
Yeah, that's real.
It makes me like legitimate hungry all day.
You burn your sugars.
Yeah,
is what they say.
Yeah, because you're out of your glycogen your like quick store energy.
Yeah, your fast store. And so that
and
makes
a bunch
you
of that's
hungrier.
in your brain.
Yeah.
So I don't like running.
I don't like running.
I would rather do stepper. I like doing the cardio. He hasn't been doing the rower. He'll have us do row machine and then burpees. That's a bad one. Or like overhead thrusters. All those I'm fine with. It's just, I think the monotony of running.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's
I'm just
very
doing
boring,
this exact same thing for 20
over
minutes.
And over again.
Like,
and on a treadmill, where am I going? Nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm literally staying in the same place. I think that's, like, I like to run outside better, but I don't do it because I need the perfect weather conditions.
Well, Texas only has a small window.
Very small, like 4 days of the whole year.
Yeah, it's freezing and then it's blistering,
hot as a mug.
blistering heat.
Yeah. Okay, so our last conversation, we were talking about how more equals less.
Yes.
And we talked about we got dug a little deeper into the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Of
We
the
were going to
series
do,
that we were in.
we're going to do all 4 weeks recap, but Whitney called us. She's straight Babe Ruth told me before, we're not going to have time. And she's right. We only got
I
two.
just had this feeling that we would keep talking and then it would not quite make it into all four.
So if you missed the last one, we recapped the first 2 weeks. Now we're going to jump into the best of the 4 weeks.
Okay.
The most anointed
For sure.
of the 4 weeks.
Definitely holy.
Pastor Whitney.
That was this week. I talked about pruning. What's true is...
God, I was mad. I wanted to preach
I was going to say, what's true is you were going to talk about pruning.
Yeah.
And you were out of town and I was...
It was my anniversary. What's up, Rach?
Good job. Good job.
17 years.
Very proud of you for doing that.
Uh-huh.
And
I did a good job telling her happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. That was very nice.
And
you did a good job.
And happy anniversary in the first service.
Yeah.
Second service, that's God's fault. I didn't say it.
Oh, you didn't say it? Oh, yeah.
Well, because worship was long,
moved, all things.
and then I'm up there preaching, and so it wasn't really the
you just
moment.
flowed straight into it.
Yeah.
But you did a great job. And so you were on, and I was originally going to do something else, though. I can't remember what now. And then you were going to do pruning the week you did the audience one.
Yeah.
But then you felt like, no, I'm supposed to not do it. Because I need to talk about this, which was so great. And I'm really glad you did, because it literally is the piece that keeps coming back up in the conversation every time we talk about it. And so I was like, yeah, I would love to. In fact, it was such a good thing for me to teach, because I feel like there have been very specific marked moments in my life of pruning that, like, man, sucked so bad, but then allowed the growth. So we can talk about that. But then have been currently in a season of pruning. And so it was like, oh, I needed that refresher and reminder of my own self. And I think sometimes it's easiest to communicate about things that you're currently walking through. I don't know. So we talked about that third week. And then the fourth week talked about
this last week, contentment. The idea of being content.
Which we've unpacked a little bit here on the Tug of More. But I think, as we grow, we keep learning more. And it was such a great word, but there's still more to say. So I think we can unpack the two of those things a little bit. Just a little bit more. I
loved what you did in the message. Anytime we're doing a series around here, we'll bat ideas around.
Yeah.
Whitney and I will talk about it. We'll pull Tim in and get some ideas on it.
Yeah.
And I had given her a illustration that you didn't use, which I think was great that you didn't use it, because it wasn't the fit for what you were doing that day.
Yeah. I mean, I used piece of it, but not all of it.
No, I was like bringing a clipper and an axe and a chainsaw and talk about how you prune little stuff, big stuff.
The beauty of you and I in our communication is that you're a guy's guy and I'm a girl's girl. And so for me, a chainsaw was extremely intimidating anyway.
Yeah.
Like, just, it's not me. It doesn't fit me. So yeah.
But I'm like, I could still preach pruning and it'd be a totally different feel of message.
Correct.
But theologically, it's the same thing. So I don't feel like, oh man, I can never preach pruning again. Yes, I can, and I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded. There's a bunch of stuff.
Well, the Bible is also, it's like its
alive
own
and active.
content.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Something about it, and I don't know, like.
Okay, so here's what she
works
said.
all the time. Okay,
you said this idea that pruning isn't punishment, and it's a mind-blowing idea. Sometimes we think that God prunes us, takes stuff away from us, because we're bad. You know why? That's what I do to my kids.
Right.
If my kids are bad, I take away their iPad. Give me that iPad. This is my iPad, sucker. And we prune something from them as a punishment.
Well, I read
that's not always what
the
God's
key
doing.
verse is John 15. It talks about that God, that Jesus is the vine, God's the gardener, and that he cuts off every branch in us that doesn't bear fruit. That means like doesn't produce anything good. And he prunes the branches that do bear fruit.
Yeah.
And when we look at the idea that, like, oh, wait, whether I'm a loser that does nothing or whether I'm doing all kind of good things for God, either way, he's going to prune me. Then it can't be that pruning is punishment.
Right.
It's that pruning is actually a benefit to the tree. And then I'm not a tree person at all. Like, I don't know anything about it. Your mom.
You don't have a garden?
No.
Whitney got some rocks at her house.
Yeah, my front yard, literally, I planted some things and then we lost the tree in our yard and they were all like shade things and it needs to not be in full sun. And so that's been 4 years ago and I've still never planted anything. I don't like big
other priorities.
Yeah.
You just have other priorities.
Yeah, I don't, it's not. So anyway, I'm not a big tree person. So I did a bunch of research about it and I'm like, oh, this is just such, there's a reason why Jesus used this illustration because it actually works. But that's what you have to do with trees. A dead branch will steal the life of the tree because the tree's trying to like reproduce it, get it to grow again, and it will kill your tree. Or the thing about the other ones that are producing fruit is if you don't like prune to well round out the tree, then the whole vitality of the tree doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so like if you look at it as it relates to a tree, then you can put it as it relates to a person and be like, oh, yeah, the whole vitality of what God wants to do in my life. Sometimes he has to prune off some good stuff to bring balance and order to what growth he still wants to do. And I think you and I have seen that so obvious in our life, right? As of late and as of long ago, that it flowed out of me because it was so like, God, help me actually get it this time.
Yeah.
Because it sucks when that happens. When there's a relationship in my life that I've been working hard on and then God prunes it from my life. It's not that I decided I don't want to be in a relationship with them anymore. It clearly was that God just orchestrated and moved those people out of my life. That sucks.
Yeah.
But then now I see, oh, it actually wasn't healthy for my life. But it's taken a lot of iterations of that happening to me for me to get it.
The pruning forces proper focus.
Yeah.
Because something gets cut off and then now all of the nutrients get properly focused into where they should go. And like anytime I've went through a pruning season that's been hurtful, you know what it does? It pushes me to fix my focus.
Right.
And now I'm praying more. I'm in the word more. I'm getting proper wisdom more because I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding. I'm cut open, man.
Yeah.
And so it properly focuses me.
It's a good way of saying it. I had in my notes something I didn't get to was that like pruning identifies areas in our life that need to mature, like need to grow. Great. And what you're saying is I like using the alliteration of it, but it requires us to look at it and go, okay, why did God prune this area? It illuminates things that for me, I mean, I've been a recovering people pleaser for the last 15 years, like because of my own like childhood stories, stuff, young trauma things, like all kind of, I have been trying to recover from that for a long time. And when certain relationships get pruned, I have to recognize, oh God, I still didn't get it this time. I still let my people pleasingness try to take over in that area. And God's trying to get that out of me for some purpose, for some reason. And if I don't, I have to look at the things he's pruning and recognize, okay, there's some maturing that needs to happen here. When there's, opportunities pruned for my life. Okay, what is it that he's trying to teach me? There's something here he's trying to mature in me. I don't know what it is yet. Sometimes we can easily identify it. Sometimes it takes a minute. But what you're saying is that focus is so needed if we want to actually grow.
Let's put some handles on it.
Okay, do it.
So what's it look like for somebody, and what are some things that might be pruned? We said relationships that maybe those people needed to be removed or you had to cut them off. You know, sometimes God calls you to prune yourself.
Yeah.
And that's painful to have to chop something off yourself, especially when it's a relationship.
Well, the theology of on a Sunday morning trying to explain like God speaking to you about that was like so for my mind to get, but it's so true that like we like to say, oh, God told me to, and it's not really real. But when we're mature enough in our walk to really hear him tell us, hey, it's time to cut that off, then we can go take those steps of like actually doing it. I think a lot of us in America, there are tangible physical things. I don't know. Sometimes it's a car. Sometimes it's a house. Sometimes it's a, what?
No, I'm about to ask a question.
Uh-oh. Okay. Like sometimes it's, actual like stuff that's connected to what we talked about last week, our identity.
Yes.
That he asks us to cut off because it's like, hey, and sometimes he forces it because we won't do it. Okay, go ahead. What were you about to ask?
Here it is. Would you be willing to give it up? Would you be willing to give up your car and get a cheaper one?
Right.
One that's half the price? Would you be willing to give up your house and live in one that's half the size?
Right.
Would you be willing to give up 80% of your wardrobe? Would you be willing to give up half the followers that you have on your social media platforms? Would you be willing to give it up? And if the answer is no, then you have to examine why.
Right.
Why do you care so much? If you're not willing to give up your car because you have 6 kids and it's the only car that can fit 6 kids, well then okay.
Right.
But
what's the actual why?
What's the real why that we're so clinging to the 2 handfuls, that we're clinging to the things that we have? And like, if I think that if you're unwilling to let it cut off, then God is in a position as a good father to prune it.
Yeah.
And there was stuff in me that I was it's funny because there's some stuff I'm willing to give up. I
Right.
gave my truck and all this stuff. There's stuff I'm willing to give up. But there's other stuff that I wasn't willing to give up. And so you know what I had to get? Pruned.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
Pruned. Blood.
Yeah.
Branches in the fire.
Right.
Looking smaller. When a tree's pruned, it looks less. And so you know what's a much better thing is to prune yourself.
Right.
Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord. And then you will be lifted up.
Yeah.
Humbling yourself is better than forcing the pruning, I guess.
No, I mean, what we're talking about even with the 2 handfuls, what we talked about on the last episode.
And that could be a whole series, the 2 handfuls thing.
The 2 handfuls,
so good.
when, we said it last week that a lot of times we're unwilling to let go of the 2 handfuls because of the audience. But then I think the other piece is when we're unwilling to let go of the 2 handfuls, maybe because of the audience, then sometimes God has to prune the audience. Sometimes he has to prune the handful. It depends on who you are and what you're walking through.
Gracious.
And the more he has for you. He knows. The thing about God is you did a series a long time ago with the you like got on the what is it called? A lift, and you like went up in the sky and you talked about the view that God has of our story perspective, and like we did a little Candyland thing and I jumped from the different places. But the idea of it is his perspective. He can see the whole board. Yeah. And I could only see, a few pieces in front of me. And the truth of the matter is he knows more of our story and what he actually wants for he's the gardener. So for the whole garden, like the whole world, the whole plan, he knows in your life what needed to be pruned out of your life at 15 and out of my life at 18 so that we could work together at 40. He has all of the pieces to the board that he understands how the dynamics work together of people and placement and situations. And some of us need different things pruned in different ways. Because I think that's when you talked about comparison in your contentment message, man, it's not only the comparison of what we have, but of what happens to us. Yeah. The comparison of, well, why did that get pruned out of their life? Or why did that get pruned out of my life, but not their life? Why does it look like that grew so much in their life, but it got pruned out of mine? It doesn't make any sense. And it ticks us off. Yeah. And it makes us frustrated. But recognizing that he has the full picture of what he wants for our life and the dynamics of what that needs to look like, for me is something I'm having to learn in real time of I can't be so concerned with whether he prunes my audience and somebody else's handful or my handful and my audience, whatever it is. But man, I get jacked in my head sometimes about it because it's super frustrating. Go. Yes.
No, because it doesn't ever feel like a season to prune.
Yeah.
As the plant. There's never a yeah, man, come and cut this thing off of me that I've been working to grow.
Yeah.
I've been pushing out energy to grow this thing. And then it never feels like the right moment to chop it off.
No. It always feels like the wrong timing, and yet it's
his time, because he knows what he wants the plant to be able to do in 5 seasons from now.
Right.
But the plant's only thinking about the moment. He wants to prune, so he can prune people. We already said he can prune possessions.
Yeah.
He can prune power.
Yeah.
What else? Those are all P's, just because it's pruning.
I know. I can't. This one I can't think of it.
Pruning of power is hard.
Oh, it's super hard.
Pruning of position.
I guess
position.
this could be the P word, posture, which I want to say attitudes, but postures, I think is one that like I've had to learn.
Force humility on you.
Yeah, that he force, force some things on you to really allow yourself to go, oh shoot, is this who I really want to be? Is this the mom I really want to be? Yeah. Is this the wife I really want to be? I don't know. No, it's not. But oh dang, I was sure going in that direction until some things were pruned out of my life. If I didn't get humbled, if I didn't get whatever, a realignment, a readjustment in some things. What else?
The connection to the audience idea is that sometimes God, if you won't take them as high of a seat in your audience, then God might prune them out of your life. Mm-hmm. There are people that were in the church that I really wanted to still be around, that were influential people in our community. And then they all left. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if one of the reasons that they needed to leave is because I cared too much. And God knew, Truston, you're performing for them.
Right.
You're supposed to be performing for me.
Absolutely.
And if you won't get this together, you're going to keep on dancing for these guys instead of listening to me. And I had to learn that lesson because now we had a guy come just recently to more church, the new building and all the things. This guy is a elected official. Mm-hmm. He's running for a new thing. He's influential. He's got a bunch of money. And he came and I didn't skip a beat.
Right.
I don't give a crap.
Right.
What's up, man? Glad you're here.
Yeah.
You need to come next week. Don't just come when it's election time.
Right.
But like in me, I wasn't rattled.
Right.
Whereas previously to the pruning,
I'd
have been shaking my boot. Man, I want to do a good job. I hope he likes me. I hope he approves of me.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those painful things are just because you put too much stuff in it.
But also recognizing pruning's not punishment, I think, is another piece of like, I talked about it in the message that like when we moved here 15 years ago, there were a lot of people that God pruned for my life. Not necessarily even because they were bad, but because I had a maturing season I needed in my life. If I was going to not just be Whitney Taylor that I was my whole life growing up in the circle that I was in and my family all around me and all the things, if I was going to really step into full confidence of the woman God's made me to be, I needed to step out of some of those childlike relationships, not because they're bad. They're still wonderful people. I love them very much. But in my daily life, maturing, that was a crutch, probably a comfort that I needed to have pruned out. Well, then the next season I talked about 7-ish years later was a totally different group of people. And what's funny is when I looked at it, it felt like I went from kind, comfortable relationships to these more challenging ones that I really had to fight through. Like, no, here's who I am. You don't understand me. Why do you not understand me? Like, it was a very difficult adjustment. And then those were pruned, and it felt very much like the same season from before. Mm-hmm. But it was actually something totally different. And I think recognizing that, like, just because similar things get pruned doesn't mean God's trying to teach you the same thing again. Mm-hmm. Actually, he's trying to teach you something new. Yeah. Because what I had to learn there was different than what I had to learn here. What I had to learn here was how to stand on my own 2 feet, be like able to start new, start again, not hold on to people who had just known me my whole life and just would understand me. And these were now I had to know how to be able to step into new relationship, new season, after pruning relationships who didn't understand me, who were confused. It was a different thing. And I think so often when things prune, we start to go, oh gosh, I've been there before. That feels like last time. Oh gosh, maybe I'm just going around the mountain. And it's like, no, not necessarily. Yeah. Actually, you went around the mountain, but you went up a level. You know how like those mountains that you do, like, they go like this. You've leveled up. It's not that you suck. It's not that you didn't get it the first time. It's that now because he pruned and taught you that thing, now the next season he can teach you this new thing. And he couldn't have got you there if you hadn't pruned it first. And I think that's the punishment piece that I had to really learn was like when there've been financial stuff in our life, financial struggles or different things that feel pruned, it started to feel like the last time that happened. And I was like, I started to panic in ways like, oh no. And God was like, no, I'm teaching you something new. You already got that last time. Now I got something new I want you to see. And when we allow ourselves to see it with the right lens, then I feel like that allows us to learn. What was this phrase you said? The focus. The focus. It allows our focus to bring clarity.
Yeah.
Whereas before it just felt foggy, you know? And so that's what the other part I've been really learning for myself personally in this season is like, if you're getting something pruned that seems similar to something that got pruned before, it doesn't necessarily mean you screwed it up. Mm-hmm. It might just be that there's a new level and a new layer that he's taking you to. Go.
So good. I want to deal with this little maybe theological confusion around this idea of pruning. You know, we believe and we say that God doesn't bring anything bad into your life. Mm. That God is not schizophrenic. He doesn't bless you one day and curse you the next day. Right? God did not kill your mom. Right?
Right.
God did not send you cancer.
Right.
Right? And so I think that what we can do is we can look at things in life that look bad and get confused. Because though it hurts, it doesn't always mean it's bad if it's pruning.
Yeah. You and I have gone round and round in circles about this because
because I've had so many debates with people.
I was going to say, not that you and I disagree.
In the lobby.
Right. Not that you and I disagree, but that it's such a hard thing to even articulate for sure, but even just understand.
Yeah.
Because we live in a fallen world. Mm-hmm. Bad things are going to happen because of the fallen world we live in, not because God sent it. But then he does sometimes use the things around us to help teach us.
Well,
and go ahead.
It's what you said about God's perspective is so much higher than ours.
Right.
We call it bad, but it's only bad from our vantage point.
Correct. Because he can see
the Bible says
beyond.
that the Spirit of God led Jesus into the wilderness to be tempted.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Right.
It says that God took the Israelites and put them into Egypt. That's confusing. The Bible says that the storm
put them in slavery, right? Like
the storm blew and pushed the disciples and Jesus off course to go to another city. That's confusing.
Right.
Like there's all these things in scripture that like at the get, it looks bad. Mm-hmm. But when you keep reading, it's not bad. It's just that he wanted to set it up different. Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because we can't read the end of the book first.
We can't read the end of our book.
Right. We can't.
We can read the end of that book.
Yeah.
Because it's the same God.
Yeah.
But we read our book and we assume that, man, this layoff, God doesn't do bad things in my life. So that means it has to be the devil.
Right.
No. Maybe the layoff or the shift or the change or the thing isn't the devil. Maybe it is God and and you wouldn't resign. Right. You wouldn't obey. And so he is forced out of love to redirect.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and it's what I'm chewing on with the whole land piece and the Arlington move is like, I was so Mansfield. Mm-hmm. I was so, this is where I have to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen.
You and I in that season, after the land swap fail, we were sad, embarrassed, confused, angry, all the words. And I remember being and then in the midst of that, we got punched in the face because the place we were meeting told us that we couldn't meet there for the summer, that we had to move to this other location, spend a bunch of money, all these things. So it was like we got kicked while we were already down. Mm-hmm. And we were there, and I remember, it was probably only maybe the second week of being, maybe third, I don't know, of being at that location. And one of our elders said to us, which is where this whole pruning is not punishment came from in my head, is that she said to us, Truston, not everything that doesn't go the way you want it to is an attack of the enemy.
Right.
Not everything is this attack that's come. Sometimes God is redirecting some things.
Orchestrating. Sometimes God's using Pharaoh.
Yeah. And
the Bible says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart.
Yeah. Wait, what? Right. Why didn't he soften it? Like, that's so, but to your point, like, we don't know the whole story, and the protection that he has for us in sometimes these pruning moments, we can't see. I said it in the message, but man, I felt it in my heart. Like, you and I didn't hear conversations that God heard by city officials and differently. You and I didn't hear and know plans that they were orchestrating behind closed doors that would have actually screwed us up in the long run. We didn't know. But
And
God
we don't
knew.
know the end of the book yet.
We still don't.
Right.
And so, like,
He knows the end from the beginning.
he knows what we needed and where we needed it. And he knows conversations that were happening in this very building that we're sitting in right now that we didn't know.
There were two. He knew prayers that other pastors were praying that we didn't know.
Right.
There were 2 other churches meeting in this space that were praying prayers that got met
By our answer.
Right.
That we'd been praying, but it didn't look like it didn't look like it. And so, like, understanding that, like, man, it sucks when it happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean that God is causing harm on us.
Right.
It might just be that God is causing blessing on us. It just looks a little bit bad.
That would be a sermon. Uncomfortable blessings.
Yeah.
That would preach.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable blessings. We think that a blessing is like Christmas morning and yay, and we open the gift and it's just, but sometimes the blessing is full of discomfort.
Yeah.
It's not how we wanted it to go.
Well, and that's why we hate pruning so much, is because it's not comfortable. And we live in a comfort culture.
I write it down.
That tells us that we have, like, that if we're not comfortable, then we should run away. If we're not comfortable, we should change it. If we're not comfortable, like, but if we can sit in the discomfort, what you're saying is so good. There is a blessing on the other side of it. And there's more on the other side of it.
Uncomfortable blessings.
It's good.
I'm writing it down. I have a note of sermon ideas.
Yes, I know.
And so I'm putting it in there.
You said this Sunday, you said some people are, what did you say, list makers. And you said, Pastor Whitney, every week we have lists. And I was like, I wish only that we had pictures of the lists to put behind you of it. Just because, the amount of lists. Anyway.
There's always a list.
There's always a list. It made me laugh. Okay, what are we talking about?
Oh, no, I got another one here. I got to preach the danger of amen.
The danger of amen?
The danger of amen.
What does that mean?
It's a sermon I want to write.
Okay.
Danger of amen. Okay, then week four of more equals less. Right here, more.
There's just too many places my brain is like saying amen, like you close the prayer, or the danger of saying so be it, or
no, the danger of amen.
Okay. We'll go later. Okay, so see how you still didn't answer my question. If the cameras weren't on, you would answer the question.
Yeah. I'll tell you. Okay, so
what were we saying?
SummerSlam's coming too.
Oh, yes.
We got to figure out what the church needs for SummerSlam.
Okay, yes, that's good. Okay, go back to our thing, though.
I've been thinking about Gideon a bunch.
Oh, yeah, I like Gideon a lot. We know this.
Okay, so
go.
week 4 of more equals less. Here at More Church, we believe there's more for you. But sometimes the answer is less, and that's confusing.
Oh, yeah.
And so the last week was a bow on the whole idea.
Yeah.
And we taught on contentment. And if you're boiled down the whole thing, contentment equals trusting God.
Yeah.
If you can trust God, then you can be content.
Yeah.
If you can't trust God, then you don't trust his plan. You don't want the pruning.
Yeah.
You get angry when the audience leaves. You want to hold on to your 2 handfuls because you don't believe any more is coming.
Yeah. Well, and if you can't trust God, then his voice isn't the most important one. Right.
Bangerang Rufio.
It's true. No, it's super good. And
Julie don't know what that means.
Bangerang Rufio? You should know.
They don't know Hook. Y'all haven't seen Hook. Y'all need to go watch Hook. Here's a picture of
Hook. It's like
Hook.
Peter Pan, but in 1992.
Dude, it's the best. I showed it to my kids. They were so mad. They didn't want to watch it.
Oh,
they
really?
Were like, I don't want to watch this old movie.
Yeah.
I said, I don't care what this is my television.
You're going to watch it.
They loved it. They said they loved
did?
it. Oh, yeah, they loved it.
Well,
It's
yeah,
so
it's
good.
super fun.
I showed them Goonies.
Yeah, that was scary.
Titus kind of.
I was going to say, you knew that was going to traumatized that boy.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys, right. No, you knew that was going to scare the junk out of him.
Titus was
Why
loose.
does his ear look like that? Why is his eyeball up there? He's going to have so many questions.
At like 1 o'clock in the morning, Titus is awake crying, Daddy, I'm dreaming of Sloth. And so I had to Google who's the actor that played Sloth.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look like that. It's a mask, you know?
Right.
And he was a football player from the 70s who was just real tall. And so I showed him, and we started watching clips of this guy play football. And then he finally realized Sloth wasn't a real person.
That's good. That's good.
Okay, contentment.
Okay, go back.
This is what happens at the end of the day.
Contentment is the most more. This is what we talked about a while ago. I think we have a podcast called Contentment is the Most More.
No, well, we did it over the holidays. And so it's something about like the holidays. It's labeled like holiday / contentment. I looked it up before the message.
Oh, okay.
Am I out of the shot if I lean up like this?
Nope. She said you're good.
So contentment. The problem with us being discontented is we don't like where we are.
Right.
We don't like today, and we wish that we were in tomorrow.
And everything about people who are trying to tug into more, everything in our being fights it because it feels like complacency.
It feels like settling.
It feels like giving up.
It feels like this is all there's ever going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to stand for that.
I will not.
So I'm going to fight and push and work harder and stay up and send another email and work this side deal and get it freaking done.
You stood on the box and did this whole thing about, so you had the boxes, you had the here, we're here, and we want to get to there. So you had the box that said there, and then the struggle with being here and wanting to get to there. What we have to remember is what God did then, right?
Yeah.
It was beautiful illustration. But at one point you jumped on the one box and you said that we strive to get from here to there. And you did this whole thing where you turned your body away and you were about to fall off of here, shouting, reaching, looking for there. But in it, you literally said like 95% of here, you're missing it. You're not paying attention to it. You're not. And like, it's easy hindsight for me as a mom to talk to all the moms who are with your preschoolers right now, because mine are growing up and all the things. And I spent all the years, I remember wishing you'd said the whole thing about like diaper, we want them to not drink bottles and then get out of diapers and then go to school. And it's easy now for me to sit back and be like, I'm literally doing it to all my friends who have young kids right now. Savor every second. It's so good because it goes so fast. But like,
stay here as long as you can.
As you can.
It's Billy Madison. Sorry.
Yeah. But when you're in here, it feels really frustrating because you just want to get there. But I'm like,
it feels
golly.
slow and small.
Yeah,
it feels slow and small in here, and there looks big and fast and cool. But I don't want to make Whitney start crying.
No, it's
but
good.
Like, what would you give for an afternoon with 8-year-old Easton?
No, right. Look, I will right now. No, for real. I started thinking about it.
I have 9-year-old Titus at my house right now.
Yeah, what the junk? Get out of here. Go take him to lunch.
Right.
Like that's how it feels now.
Right.
But in the here, I don't know that it's possible to fully savor here.
It's not.
My only reason why right now, I'm literally, we've talked about it as friends, like we're so savoring these last few months before our son moves out that we're like driving our kids nuts, but then they're driving us nuts
overboard. You're overboard.
It's like this, okay guys, when is family dinner night? And blah, blah. Like they're like, hey, we're still gonna have family dinner night when we don't live here. Like, but it's because there is this, when you did it, we think that there is so far. Mm-hmm. But when we know moments are happening that there is that close, then we're real good at being right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to be right here because I see that there is right there.
Yeah.
But in most of our life, we do not see that there is right there.
Yeah.
Most of our life, all of a sudden, there just shows up. You did this beautiful illustration of how we are afraid that what was then that was that long ago, and so we're afraid now that there is as long away as then was what God did, the last big thing, the last answered prayer, the last whatever. But really, there can show up whenever the junk God wants it to. And so that's the part about being content, that God, it sucks. And I think I'm only getting better at it because my kids are growing up. It's really the only oh, frick, if I would apply this illustration to everything else in my life, then maybe I wouldn't miss here. Mm. And it's finally helping me calm the junk down. But bro, it is hard.
Love yourself enough to love here.
Yeah.
See it today. You're the one that gave me that illustration. I mean, I had the boxes, but she gave me the you think that then is so far away, so you think that there is going to be equally as far.
Yeah.
And it's because of the perspective of where you are in life. And it was beautiful. And I tell that she gave that to me because as pastors, we don't need to pretend like we're always the smartest person coming up with stuff.
Oh, well, you give me things all the time. We give each other things all the time. That's what it is. Because the perspective of understanding, like my perspective in this season is what I wish everyone could have, but I only am getting it right now. And dadgummit, if somebody else could grab onto it before missing it, like for real.
The house that we live in right now, I can't wait to sell.
Right.
Because our kids are getting older and bigger, and like there's not enough space for them to like have friends over and do the things, and like there's just a bunch of things I want to sell. I wish I was there. Mm-hmm. But do you know what else I miss?
Right.
Rachel and I's first house.
Yep.
That was 1,200 square feet and only $700 a month.
Right.
Mortgage.
Right.
And so like how silly of me.
Right.
That I miss back there, so small and simple, but yet I'm longing for up there. And so what I have to do is I have to still enjoy here.
Yeah, because when you get there, you'll have more rooms for everyone to sit in by themselves.
Yeah.
And like there's all these things, but we don't see that's the other thing. Because there is where there is.
I can't see the problems.
We can't see the problems of there.
The challenges. Because now over there, Titus and Lily have their own rooms and they're somewhere else. And so now I feel disconnected from them.
Right.
Whereas now I'm like, they're just on top of me all the time.
Right.
And someday I'm going to wish they were back on top of me all the time.
Right. But there is there. It's all the way over there. So we can't see what we can see right here.
We only see the good.
We can only see
You only see the good of there. You only see the good of there. Sorry, I broke the microphone, Julia. We only see the good of there. We don't see the challenges of there.
Right. We can't see
and here, we only see the challenges of here.
Right.
And not the good.
Right.
But that's why we have to learn contentment.
Yeah.
Because contentment helps us stop looking at the bad of here and be thankful for the good of here and trust the same God that did it back then is going to do it right here to get us there.
And if we could apply it, golly, it's so good. If we could apply all of the principles to each. So what you're saying is we see the good of here. We don't see, we only see the bad. We see the good of there. We only see the bad of here. And if we look at then, we see the gratitude of then. We see the gratitude of what he did, the gratitude of where we were and what he brought us through. Even the gratitude of that season that was little and small in the first year. And if we could really take all three of those things and put them into here, the good, the bad, and the gratitude.
The good, the gross, and the gratitude.
Yeah.
I just need to preach it again.
Yeah, there you
go.
There you go.
Whole other thing.
Then we could actually be content.
So, guys, work on your contentment.
Yeah.
But maybe, listen to me, I love you. Maybe the only way to contentment is to let go of a handful.
It's really true.
Getting rid of my big truck and my Jeep.
Yeah.
And driving a little $3,000 Ranger has literally taught me contentment.
Yeah.
I was at the mall the other day and I came out and I thought my little Ranger got stolen and I was so sad.
Oh, you couldn't find it.
But it was something in me.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, I'm thankful for it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to let something go. The church going from 1,100 to 500 is actually the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah. No, it's so true.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Prune it off you. And if you prune you, you can learn contentment. And contentment is the most more.
Yeah.
A new house isn't more.
Right.
A bigger influence isn't more. More money isn't more. Contentment is more.
Well,
because contentment's today.
Yeah.
And today, if your today sucks,
you're never going to get to more.
No, because guess what? There's no such thing as tomorrow.
Right.
You never reach tomorrow.
Right.
My mom used to have this magnet on the fridge growing up. It was a magnet of a fat lady. It was like a stuffed animal. It was like a stuffed animal lady. What is that called? You know what I'm saying? It's like a
doll.
It's a doll. Yes. It's a doll
on a magnet.
Yeah, on a magnet. It was a fat lady in like a
apron.
No, in like a not a swimsuit, but like a onesie unitard looking thing. And it said on her little unitard, the diet starts tomorrow.
It's like a workout onesie.
Yeah, but like the diet, like
right.
if the diet starts tomorrow, it never starts.
It never starts,
right. We're perpetually in today. So learn to love today.
No, it's really good.
Dang it, that's a Chinese proverb or something.
It probably. COVID sucked so bad. But COVID made me really content in some areas because COVID stole all of our freedom, all of the things. Like I'm super like mad of that season. But when I look back at it, I realized that it was like a foundation for me of starting to be content in some things, of really being, because I had to choose to be grateful or it sucked. Like either it sucks or I'm grateful. And that season for me really is what started building my contentment in my life to go, oh, I need to look around at what I do have. I need to look around at what I am grateful for. I need to look around at what is provided to me in this tiny little sphere of my 6 foot radius or whatever. Yeah. But I think about sometimes those seasons where you feel knocked back, if you can just look around and allow yourself in the pruning season. Because I think that's the like dichotomy between talking about pruning and contentment is like, wait a minute, how can I be content when stuff just got pruned? But recognizing that like, wait a minute, I can actually take an evaluation of what is left, what is here, and what I am grateful for in this moment. Then I can start to be content in every season. Again, I love Philippians. It's my favorite. Yeah. And so you shared about Paul's words and you helped give context. Do you want to know what's funny? You said that the context of I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And then later in the message, you said it again. And I was like, are you saying the right context? I don't know. It made me laugh. Yeah,
I did. But because it's still true. You can do all things through Christ. I know. It's just,
but
from contentment.
From that place of and you said it, that contentment is strength.
Yeah.
And when we can recognize how much stronger we will be if we are content, it's a freaking game changer of our life. Yeah. I say that too much, but it's a game changer of our life.
That's 2-episode mini series. There you go. Tug of more.
Hey, we're pretty good at this thing.
Listen, more equals less.
Maybe we should like make a church or something.
more. We think it's good. Maybe these have already clicked off. Maybe only my mom is the one still watching this.
And Brady.
Because we might say something bad about her.
Yeah, she's just checking to make sure we didn't say nothing mean. I'm just kidding.
I just got my socks on.
Don't
be mad at me. Look, that's my left foot.
Well, good that you put it on your...
But guess what?
Wait a minute.
Look.
Someone has an L on it, too. I love it. Y'all.
Guys, Easter is coming.
That's true.
You better be ready.
You better invite somebody.
I can't wait. We're going to do that episode next time.
If you go to More Church, every Sunday we give out these invite cards in 5 packs. And right now, they're Easter at More. So get it some and give them to your friends.
5 for $5.
5 for $5.55. What was that? Arby's.
5 for $5. I wish they would bring back 5 for $5, dude. I was eating 5
Arby's
sandwiches.
They still do it at Brahms, I think.
No, do they? But they can't be as good.
They do like a bag of burgers for $5.95.
Arby's is probably now like 2 for $12.
Our Arby's locally is now a new coffee shop.
You're right. Arby's, yeah, they went down. You know what? I liked Arby's.
Yeah, we liked Arby's.
I wish that Arby's would have got some Chick-fil-A management.
That's all it needed.
It's the same thing except beef.
You're right.
It's Chick-fil-A with beef.
They let people buy too many franchises. That's what happened.
You think?
Yeah. Aaron used to fly for guys. They owned 365 Arby's.
So there's no quality control.
There's no quality control. Yeah. And so
they just got...
He flew them from like grand opening to grand opening or whatever, but like they didn't go like they didn't have... I mean, how can you...
It's like as long as it's making money,
right.
It's fine.
Yeah. So that's what
And then all these other restaurants come out and they just got...
Because Chick-fil-A is hardcore about how many franchises you can own as a human. So that's probably what it... Don't you think?
Dude, I would eat some Arby's with some cheese, you know, cheese sauce on them.
Yes, the beef and cheddar. What was it called?
Yeah, beef and cheddar and the curly fries.
Oh, golly. I used to love it
Apple turnovers.
Oh, my word. But then they did those market fresh sandwiches, and I was a big fan of those, too.
This episode brought to you by Arby's.
You're right.
See y'all.